Alright, this is a little bit of a different homework help video. This is going to be a video on learning styles. I'm going to walk you through some different possible learning styles, and to start with that I just want to say the word school. And when I say that, I want you to think of what comes to mind. What do you see? Do you actually see the school building? Do you see maybe something else? Do you see the flagpole, a classroom, something like that? Or do you hear a bell? Maybe a teacher, maybe you hear Mr. Wertenberger cracking jokes or something in his class. Or do you, excuse me, or do you feel yourself sitting in a desk? Do you feel yourself sitting there? Do you feel yourself doing a lab? Do you feel yourself walking the hallways? Or maybe you feel the crazy temperature differences in our school. So think about, are you seeing a building? Are you hearing a bell? Or Mr. Wertenberger, and then are you feeling a desk or another feeling that you might feel in the school, a temperature change, something like that? Your decision there will help you to determine what type of learning style you have. If you are seeing something, you are probably a visual learner. Apologize for the handwriting here. If you are hearing something here, you are probably an auditory learner. And then if you are feeling something, you are probably a kinesthetic learner. Now what those words mean, the visual part is kind of self-explanatory. You learn by seeing. The auditory part means that you probably learn by hearing, or you remember things by hearing. And then the kinesthetic part, you learn or remember things by how you felt or what you did. And if we look at the next slide, we'll see some of the characteristics and qualities of the visual, auditory, and kinesthetic learners. Some of the different qualities here can really help you to become a better learner. If you know how you learn and you know what you're good at and what skills you have, you'll be a better learner. So auditory learners, they learn by listening. So lecture is probably your kind of thing. You probably remember what you heard, so you remember hearing. You also probably struggle a little bit with math and writing, so those are going to be your weaker subjects, math and writing, because you prefer to listen to things. You're not one that likes to write things out. You probably don't like to show your work, so math and writing are hard for you. But you are probably good at speaking. That is one of your better skills because talking comes easily to you. Speaking or good speaker. And I apologize for the handwriting. You also are one of those people that talks to yourself a lot. Maybe talks yourself through problems and things like that. But you talk to yourself quite a bit. Maybe you repeat directions back to yourself or you repeat directions back to your partner just to make sure that you got it. If you're a visual learner, you'll do some different things. You probably remember what was seen, so you remember seeing. You might remember the problem that we worked on the board, or you might remember seeing something underlined in your book or highlighted. You are probably organized, and you are also probably pretty observant, because you see a lot of the things that go on around you and you pick those up. You pick up those visual cues. You're a good speller because seeing things correctly is important to you. And then you probably memorize by picture. This is a little bit of a different one, but you've probably all had this at some point where you saw a picture in your mind as you were taking a test. So you memorize pics. And then you also probably struggle with verbal directions. That's one of the things that's hardest for you. You're a lot better when things are written down for you. So you struggle with verbal directions. That is difficult for you, so having things written down for you is really going to help you. And even asking your teacher, hey, would you mind having a written handout for this so that I can see it If that helps you, it's worth asking. Kinesthetic learners, you've probably kind of figured out by process of elimination what's left here. You learn by doing. You need to do it. You need to work through the problem by yourself. You need to do the lab. You need to have a manipulative. You need to have something to move around with your hands. That's a big thing for you. You probably touch people often. You're maybe can't keep your hands to yourself, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's just part of who you are. But you touch people often. You need to be touching someone or doing something. You need to have something in your hands. So you need something in hands. And it doesn't matter whether that's a pencil or a poker chip or a pipe cleaner or anything like that, but you need something in your hands to do. You probably do a lot of gestures as you talk. You move your hands a lot, and you use your body as you speak. And then you also memorize by walking and seeing. So you memorize by walking, seeing. And you are a person that will remember where you were when you learned something, or you remember what it felt like to learn something, or you will remember what you did in class. If you got up and did an activity, you'll remember the activity to remember what you learned. Okay, now why does this matter? We'll go to the next slide and we'll look at this just a little bit. So let's look at why this matters. And I'll go through auditory, visual, kinesthetic, just like I did in the last slide. If you're an auditory learner, lecture is good for you. You need to be involved in discussion. So you probably, at least in my class, want to take every opportunity you can to print things off. Print off the notes, print those things off so you don't have to write them down. That way you can be involved in discussion and involve yourself in what's going on in the class. So you want to involve yourself in discussion. You want to take every opportunity you can to have a conversation with someone about what's going on. Mnemonic devices will probably help you so that you can say things like, "Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally," and that will help you to remember the order of operations. Things like that will really help you. Even silly things like chemistry jokes, like, "Do you want to hear a sodium joke?" Na equals sodium. Those sorts of things will help you. You're an auditory learner. You remember things that you hear. So if you're an auditory learner, that's kind of where you want to be. If you're a visual learner, things are a little bit different. You are going to remember what you see. So your notes and your class recordings need to have as many pictures and graphic organizers as you can fit in them. Those things will help you to remember how the information is organized. They'll help you to remember what you were seeing and what you were thinking at that time when you learned it. Pictures especially help me when I'm solving a physics problem or something like that. To draw a picture just helps me to visualize it, to get an idea of it. I'm a visual learner, so having those pictures is really helpful for me. You will also probably be helped by showing your work. And that's something that I'm big on anyway, but showing your work will really help you because you'll be able to look back and see what you did. If you don't show that work or if you don't include that, the visual part of you won't really have anything to base your memory on. If you're a kinesthetic learner, you need to do some things a little bit differently. You are going to remember what you did. So getting up is a big thing for you. Get up out of your seat as often as possible within reason. Get up, move around, do things. Take every opportunity to do labs and any sorts of demonstrations or anything like that that you can do. If you can get up and do a project or a presentation, do it, because you will remember the learning that you did while you were moving around, while you were being active, more so than you will remember the things that you got while you were sitting there. Kinesthetic learners, it's a little bit more difficult for them at the next level, at the collegiate level, because there's fewer opportunities to get up and move around. But even just bringing for yourself some sort of a manipulative whether that is a tennis ball or a pipe cleaner or just a pencil even that you can kind of flick around in your hands while you're working. Having something in your hands, something that you can hold and work with, that'll really help you to remember what you were doing. The other way to do that is just to walk around while you study, to move around as you're studying, to remember the place that you were in, things like that. That will help you as a kinesthetic learner to really maximize your study time. I hope that this has helped you a little bit. If you're still not sure which category you fit in, let me know and I can find you a learning styles inventory that'll kind of help you to test where you fit on here. But use this as you move along, not just in high school, but this will really help you in your collegiate preparation too, to know what type of learner you are and how to maximize your skills and abilities.